After this video, you'll be able to achieve super large and monstrous vocal phrases for your songs. Additionally, I will show you some tips on how to edit them the easiest and the most efficient way. Stick till the end for an absolute time saver on vocal editing. So in the DAW, the first thing we want to do is create a new audio track. And we want to create a separate track for every technique that we use. In my case, I separate them into lows and highs. So one track for the low, one track for the high. We do that because they will need different processing because the frequency spectrums are different. You don't have to create separate ones for like gutturals and other types of low screams. You can sum all low screams on a low track and the same for the highs. And I would also put the mids on the low track or create a separate track for the mid tracks. But this way you will be good. Cool, but that's not it. What we want to do next is duplicating these tracks. Because if we have a track here and we want to kick in right here, then we have like problems with overlapping. So that way we can work around that. And then we also want two more copies and call them low pan and also low pan. And pan them hard left, hard right. And these will be our stereo layer tracks. Doing the same with the highs. So now we have two main low tracks, two main high tracks. These are also for mono layers. One high pan left, one high pan right, one low pan left, one low pan right. You can go crazy with these, so you can create more pan tracks if you want to emphasize even more. But for that example, we will stick to that. So we basically have two different ways to go with the arrangement. The first one is creating a vision before. So we map out the parts that should be layered, what technique should be used where, and before we start recording, we create a plan. Option number 2 is recording the whole thing with every technique on the different tracks, and then you have like everything layered already and then cutting things away from that. That's specifically a good way to use when you don't have an exact vision and you feel like you're not too creative and you don't know what to do with certain parts. With that you have like a structure and you can work your way up from there. So for the example we have here, I will record multiple layers for the first part and map out a vision for the second one. And that way we can cover both methods in that video. Okay, let's start recording. If you haven't watched the last video on how to set up the perfect vocal environment, go watch that first because that's basically the foundation for that video here. Alright, back in the DAW, I recorded those takes. I want the main vocal line to be lows. So I recorded the whole thing in lows here with low layers. One left, one right. Okay. One thing I want to mention here, if you can't get the one line through completely, go the quality way. Do it bit by bit. Just record the first line, then the second, and so on. Make sure to do that. Basically what we do now, we listen to it and search for parts that we want to emphasize. And that way we can just select the sections that we want to keep and the sections that we want to cut. This is a upcoming song from my band Winter's Howl. It's called A Gunshot. If you enjoy it, make sure to keep an eye out on that. So the first thing I want to keep is the A Gunshot. So the first words. And the rest I'm just going to cut away like this. Always make sure to do a little crossfade here so we don't get any pops. This already the editing section actually, but just do it now. Better to do it now than forgetting it later. Okay. The batter I want to keep here. Oh, actually, I don't want to keep that because I want the next A Gunshot to be emphasized again, and that will just get the tension out. You could either drop a mono layer here as well, or like do another set of layers with highs or so. But I'm just going to do it like this right here. The straight from my will be removed. And I just want the hand in here. And here I just want to have the little bit safer. Okay, so right like this. And that's the cool thing about this technique, right? So if you want to go in and, oh, okay, no, for that part, I rather want to have like this part emphasized, then you just go in, drag it here, cut that out. If you want that syllable, you do like that, and you have like that syllable, and you don't have to re-record anything. And that way you can work way more fluently and more creative. I think you get the idea here. Okay, to the second section and the second technique. So what my plan is for that is, since that's the outro of the song and it's just 4 times a gunshot, I want to do layers with lows and highs and also with panned ones. So basically a low main take, 2 low pan takes and 1 high take, and that basically throughout. Okay, back in the session, what did I do? I recorded some highs. These are separated into 2 different techniques. This is the first one. Gunshot. And this is the second one. Gunshot. Alright. And then we did the same with the lows in the middle. Gunshot. And the same with the lows in the sides. Gunshot. And together it sounds like this. Gunshot. I think you get the idea. I created that concept of how I want to do it before and then recorded it with that in mind. That's basically the way you want to go if you already imagine something. But make sure to map it out and not to improvise, at least at that point. Okay, so from here, you basically have the foundation. What comes next is you can, when you listen to the whole thing, find spots and add certain layers here and there even more. For example, adding a high in here or wherever, or even other techniques, adding tunnel throats in the sides, doing crazy stuff. But now you have the foundation. Also, if I'd done even more takes, I could now go in and layer them here. For example, I could have done a tunnel throat track. I could have done a whatever pig squeal take, or you know, I think you get the idea, right? Okay, so since we created our arrangement, we want to edit the whole thing. How do we do that? Breaths, if not specifically wanted, always remove them. That will clean up the whole thing. Then we have timing correction, so all the consonants and held notes are lining up. Then we want to remove the silences, and we want to do crossfades so we don't get any pops. Okay, let's get in. Cut up the silence. I will not use any shortcuts here. I will just do it like that. And we will listen through and see where it's needed to cut up the silence. There's a breath, so we go in, remove that, do this, and it's clean. Then we go in here, cut that up, fade. Make sure that you not fade too much in so that you lose volume on the screams. Remove that. I will continue doing that and we will be right back. Alright, so now we got rid of all the breathing, we removed all the silences, and we did the fades. Right? We didn't have to do any crossfades, but we had to do fade in and out. For the timing correction, you have multiple options here. On the main take, you can either go in and let's say you want the shot longer and you don't have things like Melodyne or so. Go in, cut it up, drag it out, and drag this in. And then you can do a crossfade. Then it sounds kind of like this. You can do it way cleaner if you have Melodyne or so, and then you can just take the note, drag it longer. Short. But that way it works as well. So when we listen to that with the instrumental, you will not hear that fade. You'll just hear that it's now longer here than here. Let's not keep it like this. The timing is pretty on point for this. But what I have to do actually is aligning all the takes, right? So as you can see, this is the consonant. You're like, right? You have multiple options here. You can either do it like the way I showed you before, but that's, I don't recommend any plugins usually. But for this, since it's such a huge time saver, definitely get either, there are multiple plugins, either Vocaline or Melda Track Align, I think, or Auto Track Align, something like that. That's like $30. That's definitely worth investing into. Will be one of your best investments ever. I'm running a pretty old version actually. I should upgrade this, but it works for me perfectly fine, so there wasn't the need to. And what we do now is we add the sidechain of our vocal. Let's call this vocal main, or low main, sorry. Use it as our sidechain here, low main. Then we grab Vocaline again for the second track. Also choose the low main. Click capture audio, and we let it play. So now we got the tracks here. I did that for the low pans now. So we click analyze, click align, and we click edit. And now what happened, if you listen to all the explosive consonants, congrats, now you have perfectly recorded vocals and a true vocal arrangement with super clean and aligned layers. As I always say, these are no hard rules. Be creative, use that to your advantage, implement it into your workflows, go crazy with the layered tracks, but with that you have the foundation and you understand the ideas. That's always super important for me, that you understand the idea behind a technique, right? And not just copying what I do or what anybody else does. If you found that useful and you enjoy the No Bullsh series, then drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. Tell me in the comments, what other questions do you have? What topic shall we cover here? Feel free to drop that into the comments and we will see next time, guys. Cheers.